and welcome back to the CottageCutz YouTube channel. Today I'm featuring a slimline card using a new release available now in the Scrapping Cottage. This Campin Out die set, the entire collection is on sale for 65% off, or you can purchase individual pieces at 30% off. The Scrapping Cottage is having a Black Friday sale. The sale has started early. It's in full swing. Some of the dies are on sale all the way up to 85% off. Here's a look at the products that I'm using on my card today. I am creating a Christmas themed card, so I do have the Christmas farmhouse floral. I'm also using the Campin Out trees. I'll be using the pine trees, but I did cut out the other trees to show you those. I have Campin Out bear on a log, Campin Out campfire and sign, and Campin Out bear in a tent. I'll be using pattern paper with some of my die cuts, so I've used the Sweet Peppermint paper collection. This is an older paper collection from Prima. So the pine tree comes in 4 pieces. As you can see, they layer up nice and easy, and I'm layering up all 4 pieces. For my second tree, I did want my tree to be a little bit taller, so I did cut the pine tree out twice. I'm going to use all the layers initially, and then I'm going to decide that I don't like having the 2 of the small pieces at top, so I will remove one of those top pieces. You can see all of the other trees that come in this die set. They're so easy to put together. All you need to do is just layer up the tree trunk over the top of the more oval shape of the tree, and easy peasy, quick and easy, you do have a tree. Now I won't be using those other trees that I did die cut, but I thought that I would just show them and share that with you. Moving on to our card base. My finished card is going to be 8.5 by 3.5 inches. And then I do have a layer right here that I cut from the Sweet Peppermint paper pad. This is cut to 8.25 by 3.25, and I'm gluing it to the center of my card panel. That is going to give the warm wintry feel to this card because, as you can see, it is snowflake paper. In order to add a little bit of depth and to give my scene building some places to lay, I am going to cut 3 layers of hillsides. I've cut this first layer, which is going to be my tallest layer. This is going to add depth to my card and allow my baby bear to have a place to lay. I'm also using a medium-sized hillside, and finally I'll have a smaller layer. So adding these layers really does create more depth to the card. I did ink it up using some Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide ink. Again, that's just adding a little bit more dimension, and I'm going to do the same thing to these pine trees. I am giving away the Campin Out bear in a tent. In order to qualify for the giveaway, you do need to be a subscriber on the channel. Make sure that you leave a comment and like the video. Also, if you're interested in seeing when we upload a video, please make sure that you ring the bell and you'll be notified whenever there's a new video uploaded on the CottageCutz YouTube channel. I did cut out the bear in a tent, and I cut that out using another piece of pattern paper from the Sweet Peppermint. As you can see, my card does have a pink and green feel to it. I love this pattern paper. I thought that it was perfect for a Christmas or a winter scene card. This Campin Out collection is good for year-round. You're going to see a ton of inspiration over the next couple of weeks. If you haven't subscribed to the blog, I would highly recommend that you head over to the blog and take a look at the posts that have been there. There's been, I think, about 2 or 3 different posts featuring this collection, and I know that there's a few more that are sure to inspire you. So that link is in the description box below. I did use some white cardstock to cut out my little bear, and I'm using my Copic markers. I use my darkest colors on the outer edges. I blend it out with my mid-tone, and finally I use my lightest color for a center highlight. I am going to add a little bit of rosiness to the cheeks and a little bit of pink to the ears. And then there's a second piece that is the muzzle to the bear. And again, I've said this before in my other videos, it does help add dimension to these animals, and it does bring them to life. So it's one of the things that I truly appreciate about working with die cuts and working with CottageCutz in particular. So I'm going to use an E50 marker. I think I use a couple of them to color the muzzle, and I used E70 markers, which were on the screen for you to see, to color up the bear. Once I get that colored up, I am going to add some black glaze pen to the nose on the muzzle and to the eyes, and then I will bring in a white gel pen, and I'm going to add some freckles to my little bear because I just love that look. Once I finish with this, I will remove him, and then I am going to use some foam dots to pop him up. I do like to add a little bit of dimension to my cards, so I will add that piece of foam to the back of the bear, and that will give, again, a little bit more depth and dimension. So I'm just going to use one square. I'll peel off the release paper, and easy peasy, just like that, the bear in the tent is built. I am going to glue them, as I said, up on the hillside. I did build that pine tree taller so that my tent could sit behind it, and now we are moving along to the Papa Bear. Now the Papa Bear, I did color him in the same colors. I used the same black gel pen on his eyes and his nose. This time the Papa Bear does come with that log. It also comes with a coffee cup with a nice little bear paw. I cut the coffee cup out of a piece of pattern paper, and then I did color in the bear paw that is part of the cup. I'm going to place Papa on the log. Now I am going to pop the log up using some foam tape. So that means that the bottom of Papa Bear does not need any foam tape, but the top portion of him will. So I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape to the top of the bear. And I like the way that this is coming together. My favorite part of this scene, though, is funny. My favorite part of this scene is when I start building the fire. I used a ton of dimension. I have these little itty bitty foam circles, and so for each of the layers of the fire, once I color it up, I do end up using that foam tape on each of the layers, or that little piece of foam on the layers, and I really think that it adds such a fun bit of dimension to this card. So I'm going to color up my logs first, and once I get my logs colored up, I am going to use some R markers. So I believe I use an R14, 12, and 11, which is more of like a peachy pink. So I tried to get tones that matched the pattern paper that I used. So not only did the pattern paper help me give that Christmas feel to this card, but also the coloring. I made sure to use colors that were complementary. Instead of doing a bright orange or red roaring fire, I took the cue from the peachy pink tones in the pattern paper, and I used those same tones on my fire to give it that same cohesiveness. So this is some really quick Copic coloring. I didn't put a ton. I did use 3 different colors, but look at, you can see right there that I didn't put a ton of time and effort into coloring the fire, but they all blended beautifully, and it all looks perfect with the pattern paper that I've used on this card. If you haven't subscribed to this CottageCutz YouTube channel, please make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when we do upload another video. We try to upload videos on Wednesdays, so if you are not notified, check over here on Wednesday and you're bound to find a new video uploaded. We also have an Instagram account, so I will have the link to that in the description box below as well. Here's where I'm adding that foam tape. And you can see, look at the beautiful dimension on that. It just really brings that fire to life. I'm going to glue down my logs and then I'll glue down the fire. I'm going to do some heat embossing for my sentiment, and I'm going to use some gold glitter powder. In order some gold embossing powder, not glitter powder. I am going to use a sentiment from my stash, and I do use my anti-static tool to make sure that none of that stray embossing powder gets anywhere else on my card. I used my Versamark ink, and now I have a coffee filter, and I'm just going to add that gold embossing powder, and you can see that I have a perfect impression, and I love the sentiment. Once I finished embossing it, I thought my card was going to be done, but I just felt like it was still a little bit plain. So I am going to add those pine cones, and I'm going to use some, I believe I use some distress ink on the pine cones. I think I use Antique Linen and Vintage Photo. Of course, I did have to add a little bit of pink to Papa's cheeks, and I am going to use the same gel pen and add a few freckles. And there you go. Now I did tie a piece of gold string off camera, and that's going to be the bow that will kind of hold my little pine cones together, and then that will be my finished card for today. So I wanted to also announce that we did have a winner for my last giveaway. It is Girliest Cards. I have that name on the screen. If that's you, I do have the information for Mary Marsh in the description box below. Make sure that you contact her and she'll make sure that you get that prize. Here I'm adding just a little bit of, this is called Fallen Snow, I want to say. It's from Nuvo. It's kind of like a glitter glue. So I'm adding snow to the trees. I added it to the bottom of the log. I added it to the tops of the hillsides. And then I also added it to the top of the tent. Once I put these pine cones together, I will glue them to the upper corner of my card, and that's going to be it for me today. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you're here today. I want to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.